Just moments ago, the National Weather Service issued a tornado watch for counties just to our south. We'll talk about what that means and when we could see a tornado watch across our area.
And you're looking live right now at the Cape Fear River. The Sandhills are expected to be hit hard as the storm travels across the state. We're live with the look at how people are getting ready for what's to come.
And people across the Midwest and Northeast are dealing with blizzard conditions and heavy winds. A look at the accumulations after that massive snowstorm.
It's a WRAL weather alert day as we are under a level 2 and 3 risk for severe storms. Durham Tech campuses are closing right now, and afternoon and evening classes that can move to remote learning will be holding sessions online. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Thanks for joining us. A lot going on this noon. Those school systems in our viewing area are also dismissing students early ahead of powerful winds and possible storm damage. We are keeping an eye on the roads as well as the forecast to help keep you safe.
We begin with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at deteriorating conditions through the afternoon and evening.
The newest information, this just came in moments ago. The Weather Service issued a tornado watch for the Charlotte area, bumping right up against our viewing area. This is our viewing area right here. So this bumps up is adjacent to Moore County here as you travel toward Charlotte. And then, of course, down here into South Carolina. Well, the storms are going to be moving in this direction. And so the Weather Service will expand this tornado watch most likely in the next couple of hours. There's a certainty that we will go under a tornado watch. So just keep your eye on it. We're starting to see a little bit of lightning for the first time down here south of Fayetteville on I-40. So we're going to start to see some of these cells developing. It's likely to be maybe middle of the afternoon before we start to see anything severe. However, I just saw, this just caught my eye, brand new severe thunderstorm warning that's west of Rock Hill, South Carolina. So things are starting to get a little closer to us. It's been very active to our south. We're looking at some scattered showers from Greensboro to Danville, but right now we're watching this next wave coming up from the south. Sanford, Smithfield, Dunn, Clinton seeing some showers, and it looks like those are now turning into thunderstorms. So we have the level 2 and 3 risk for severe storms. Wind damage will definitely be our biggest threat today, and scattered tornadoes are likely in this setup that we're going to see as we get through the afternoon. Here's a look at what happened earlier. You can see all those scattered thunderstorms and tornadoes that were developing, and then again you can see that line. See how this line just started to move up into South Carolina very, very quickly as that warm front moved northward. And so we're going to start to see that warm front moving into our area soon. We will see those severe thunderstorm warnings and possible tornado warnings as well. So things are going to get interesting here pretty shortly. By 3 o'clock, I would assume that we would have some severe storms likely in the area. But this line of thunderstorms as it moves through, still showing around 5 o'clock as it moves into our western counties, 6 o'clock right through the middle of the viewing area, and our eastern counties there at around 7 p.m. So that's going to be the timeline that we'll see. We have a wind advisory. We have heavy rain in our forecast. A lot more to tell you about coming up in just a few minutes. We want to send you out to Kelsey and take a look at where Kelsey is. Kelsey, you're on your way down to Sanford, where we're starting to see some of that rain developing.
Elizabeth, we sure are. So right now we're in Cary on US 1 South, again headed towards Sanford. Here's a look at the roads right now. Just a little light misty rain, but still those roads are really wet from when the rain was coming down earlier this morning. So just be sure to be careful as you are headed out on the roads today. Definitely watch your speed. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Cary.
And right now in the WRAL Live Center, we have more views around town for you. I want to show you this camera down in Fayetteville. You can see all the water drops, the raindrops on the camera there. Rain coming down. Elizabeth just showed you the map. But checking out the roadways, this is I-40 at Fayetteville Road. You can see quite a few cars on the road. You can see the road is dark, meaning it is wet. So just a really good idea to take it slow today. I'll give you another vantage point here. This is I-440 at Capitol Boulevard. Again, a lot of traffic today. Moving very freely, which is good, but always a good idea in these circumstances to just take it slow. Jeff.
Thanks, Michelle. Our southern counties could face the brunt of the storms as they pass through, and WRAL Fayetteville reporter Gilbert Bays is live at the Cape Fear River right now, where that water is on the rise. Gilbert.
Yeah, Jeff, and conditions starting to deteriorate here. About an hour ago, you could feel almost like some tropical breeze coming here, and we're about 100 miles away from Wilmington and the coast here in North Carolina. This is the Cape Fear River. The river's high. We're not expecting any flooding from the river, but this is a very good indication of all the saturation and rain that we've had. You can see the boat ramp here that's normally exposed. That is gone. So right now we're concerned about the potential for this to cause some flooding for us around the area because of the saturation. Now, let's take you to some pictures around the area here. We're talking about the potential for trees that will come down because of causing some power outages because of all that saturation. The line of storms that's coming along with this system is going to bring some strong winds and could trigger some tornadoes. And that is terrible news for Fayetteville residents who've survived an EF3 tornado that touched down in April of 2011. That tornado was on the ground for about 12 minutes and cut a path of destruction in the Summerhill community along the Yadkin Road. It flattened homes, cars, and businesses.
I was very fortunate I wasn't here like people in the neighborhood were that lost their homes, but it was a setback.
When you came here and you saw what was going through your head, kind of describe the scene.
This is ugly. This is not going to be an easy cleanup. And you knew right then it's going to be a long-term deal, in which it was. It was a year before I got back in business.
And that storm caused more than $140 million of damage right here in Fayetteville. Nearly 200 people were injured, and sadly, 2 people lost their lives. Now, I did talk with Gene Booth. He's the director of emergency management here in Fayetteville and Cumberland County. He's talked with law enforcement. He's talked with emergency responders and everyone. Everyone is on board to do what they have to do once this storm comes through. But right now, they're asking residents to do their part. If you don't have to travel when the storm starts to come through this area, please stay at home. Jeff?
Yeah, I know you've seen a lot of them come through, Gilbert. Let's hope there's less issue with this one. WRAL has you covered when it comes to tracking this severe weather. When we are not on air, you can track it on the WRAL News app. Just be sure you have it downloaded and installed on your phone. Turn on the alerts to get notified about severe weather in your location. It is available for free for Apple and Android devices.
There are blizzard warnings today in other parts of the country. A massive winter storm is unleashing dangerous conditions in parts of the central U.S. Maggie Vespa reports from Des Moines, Iowa.
Des Moines, Iowa getting hit hard overnight. When we got here yesterday evening, there was really like an inch on the ground at the most. And now we're at close to half a foot and counting, with close to a foot expected in some parts of the state by the time this thing wraps up later on this afternoon and into the evening. This, by the way, is wet, heavy snow. You can see it's fat snowflakes that basically stick right away. Exactly the kind of stuff that makes officials worried about dangerous road conditions. Several local school districts already canceling school, and also power outages. To that point, more broadly, as of this morning, we had close to 250,000 Americans in the Midwest and South mainly without power. More broadly, 54 million Americans woke up to winter storm alerts. That was from Texas up into Michigan and the Midwest, obviously Iowa as well, and into the Northeast. Another big concern is wind. Yesterday, we had wind gusts topping 70 miles an hour. Nebraska in particular was a mess. It was crash after crash after crash. Local authorities say at least one of them was fatal. And then just speaking to kind of the massive footprint of this storm down in Florida, we have schools canceled because they're worried there about the possibility of tornadoes throughout the day spawning from this, again, same huge system. And in the Northeast, we have torrential rain moving in. This after that region got hit with snow over the weekend. So when you add rain to the melting snow in that area, officials there are very concerned about the possibility of severe, even flash flooding. Maggie Vespa, NBC News, Des Moines, Iowa.
That same system bringing the rain here. Buc-ee's, meantime, is coming to North Carolina. The mega gas station convenience store complex will be built just off I-40 in Mebane. WRAL's Ken Smith joins us now with what's next for this new development, Ken.
Yeah, Jeff, I just got off the phone with Mebane Mayor Ed Hooks. He says right now Buc-ee's will have to start securing those building permits. But for right now, the company has cleared all the hurdles in reference to Mebane. Now, this debate went into the wee hours of the morning, ending just before 2 this morning.
We have a motion and we have a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah, that was the moment the Mebane City Council approved rezoning and a special use permit for the first Buc-ee's in North Carolina. What started out as a packed chamber dwindled to just a few people who witnessed that vote. This 75,000 square foot facility will feature 120 gas pumps and 600 parking spots. One council member summed up the more than 8 hours of debate this way.
We'd be surprised, encouraged, thankful. So many comments, well-formed, both sides, spoken respectfully. I just don't think that could have gone any better.
Well, back in December, we reported the planning board denied approving this project, but clearly the Mebane City Council is seeing things differently. We're working to find out a timetable for when construction will start and when this new Buc-ee's will open in Mebane. Currently, the closest Buc-ee's to the Triangle is in Florence, South Carolina. Jeff?
Ken, thanks for that update. And we'll take a live look right now this noon at stocks. And Dow Jones Industrial Average has spent the entire day in negative territory since the opening this morning. And right now it stands down 156 points. S&P 500 down marginally, just 9 points. NASDAQ still hanging in there. It's in positive territory, up 22.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, a man was arrested for his role in a shooting on Western Boulevard back in December. You might remember December 19th is when this happened. This is 19-year-old Quincy Phillips of Raleigh. He was arrested. Raleigh police say a man and woman were hurt and sustained non-life-threatening injuries because of this. Phillips and an unknown suspect, they fired multiple rounds into a Honda at a group of people. 2 people were hit by bullets. He was arrested today. He's charged with 4 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, 9 counts of discharging a firearm to city limits, among other charges. Phillips received no bond. He is expected to be in court later this afternoon.
Michelle, thanks. Today is National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, as the profession faces a 45% increase in officer retirements and 18% increase in resignations. This morning, State Attorney General Josh Stein spoke about solutions to attract and train more people into the profession. That includes offering hiring bonuses, as well as stopping the pension penalty so that retired officers can get back on the job. Apex Police Chief Jason Armstrong says it's an issue affecting all law enforcement agencies.
If I steal some officers from another agency, that may help me, but that's hurting another agency. And our responsibility is not just to one community, it's to everybody in North Carolina.
The recruitment effort includes a $5,000 bonus for recruits who complete basic law enforcement training. Also, a $10,000 bonus for out-of-state transfers and a stipend for former military police.
Next at noon, former President Donald Trump is in a courtroom today making a case for immunity against election fraud charges. We break down the argument.
Also, hail to the victors in Houston, how Michigan's national championship win is being celebrated in Ann Arbor.
Plus, at 12:30, Duke Energy is on high alert for today's weather. Their strategy for keeping the power on when high winds hit.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, continuing our weather coverage here. I want you to take a look at some delays and cancellations at Charlotte Douglas International. Right now, 150 delays and 24 cancellations. We just spoke with Elizabeth. She said that there are some straight line winds going through the Charlotte area that can make travel very dangerous. So if you're flying out of Charlotte, definitely check your flight before you leave. Raleigh-Durham right now, we're standing at 40 delays and 12 cancellations. This could change. It's going to be continuing to change throughout the day. I will stay on top of this and bring you the latest from the Live Center.
Michelle, thanks. Nearly 24 people were injured after a gas leak and explosion in Fort Worth, Texas. It happened at a hotel in the city's downtown. This is a look at the scene from above. Debris from the blast strewn across the street. First responders found one person previously reported missing, another who was trapped inside the hotel. Fortunately, no one was killed.
Former President Donald Trump is back in court today, arguing that presidential immunity shields him from election fraud charges. This comes as he faces dozens of felony counts across 2 states, as well as civil suits. Today comes less than a week before the Iowa caucuses, and Alice Barr breaks down the arguments before the 3-judge panel.
Former President Trump arrived inside the D.C. federal courthouse behind me here shortly after 9 o'clock this morning. He's here for a significant step in his legal battles. He's trying to essentially get thrown out one of the prosecutions against him by special counsel Jack Smith's office. This is the one that accuses the former president of trying to overturn illegally the results of the 2020 election, efforts that culminated in the January 6th Capitol attack. Now, former President Trump has argued that he should have absolute immunity from prosecution because of his status as president at the time of these allegations against him. So there are oral arguments going on today before a 3-judge panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for D.C. And essentially, attorneys for former President Trump are going to argue that he should not be prosecuted because of this immunity. And also, they're arguing that there's a sort of a form of double jeopardy because former President Trump did have an impeachment inquiry. He was impeached by the House and then acquitted by the Senate. What we're going to hear from the attorneys for the other side, the prosecutors, are that former President Trump is not above the law. Reporting from the federal courthouse in Washington, D.C., I'm Alice Barr. Back to you.
And the former president is expected to participate in a town hall in Iowa tomorrow and a court hearing for his New York case on Thursday, all ahead of the Iowa caucus next week.
Earlier today, Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Tel Aviv to discuss the war in Gaza. Blinken told Israeli leaders there was still a chance of winning acceptance from their Arab neighbors if they create a path to a viable Palestinian state. This is his 4th trip to the region since October. Rescue operations at an area in Japan hit by an earthquake entered its 9th day. Dozens of people are searching for survivors in Wajima City. 81 of the 202 deaths from the quake were there. More than 100 people remain unaccounted for.
2023 was officially the hottest in recorded history. Europe's top climate agency says last year shattered the previous global temperature record by almost 0.2 of a degree. That's the largest jump scientists have ever seen. Earth's average temperature last year was 2.66 degrees Fahrenheit hotter than the pre-industrial average. The largest and most obvious factor, El Nino, the infamous global climate pattern that emerges a few times a decade and triggers extreme weather patterns around the world. Experts predict this year will be even hotter. How much can you take?
Well, and speaking of heat, it will actually be warm today. We'll get up into the 60s. Not that anyone's going to enjoy it because it's going to be rainy and blustery. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner walks us through what we're expecting for our WRAL Weather Alert Day.
And those warm temperatures are going to transport a lot of energy into our area, which is the fuel for some of these very strong thunderstorms coming through. We have a wind advisory that's in effect for gusts up to 45 miles per hour before we start to see the severe storms arriving, which will be shortly in the next few hours. Heavy rain up to 2 inches, and of course that level 2 and 3 risk for severe storms. Straight line winds and tornadoes all possible out there. We're just beginning for the first time since the rain began early this morning to see some thunder and lightning with this. It's from Fayetteville back over toward Goldsboro, south and east. But this next band, as it's coming northward, is bringing with it warmer air and more instability. So we're going to start to see more thunderstorms developing. We are more likely to see severe storms coming with our line that will arrive a little bit later on. But we'll definitely be watching these very closely. I just took a closer look at these with the radar. There's no rotation here right now, so no indication that any of that is going to be severe anytime soon. But take a look at this. I mean, there's a lot of heavy rain with this. I mean, it is coming down in apex right now, so we're going to have heavy rain with this. We'll have straight line damaging winds. We'll likely have some scattered tornadoes with that level 2 and 3 risk for severe storms. Here's what started about 6 a.m. We had all these strong thunderstorms down here near Florida. The warm front has been lifting northward, and just below that warm front is where we're seeing the best chance of storms. That line is moving in, and you can see all the way up toward Rock Hill, South Carolina. You can see those severe thunderstorm warnings, that line that stretches all the way back down to Georgia. There is a history of this storm as it's moving up toward North Carolina, South Carolina line. It has knocked down some trees, so we do have wind damage, ground truth to this as it moves closer to us. We have that tornado warning that's in effect for the Charlotte area, tornado watch in effect for the Charlotte area, and most likely in the next couple of hours that will extend at least least as far north as the Triangle area. Again, that's going to be Kannapolis, Charlotte, down towards South Carolina. It does not include our viewing area yet, but most likely it will include at least the Sand Hills up to Raleigh. We'll know that in the next couple of hours. We've had a cluster of tornado warnings and tornado damage down near the coast of Florida, and a lot of reports of wind damage in the last 24 hours, too. Let's walk through Futurecast with you. We're looking at these isolated thunderstorms that are starting to develop now to our south. Some of those could become severe, but really this is going to be the big band that has the best chance of producing wind damage and tornadoes. It's approaching the viewing area at 5 p.m., moving through the middle of the viewing area at 6, and by 7 o'clock it's in our eastern counties. It's going to be a fast mover, but of course it could do damage all along that line across the entire viewing area. We also have some heavy rain in the forecast, up to 2 inches, so we have a flood watch in effect from the Triangle area westward. We're already seeing some strong gusty winds. We're seeing winds gusting up to around 30 miles per hour right now. Our wind is coming out of the south, steady up to almost 30 in Fayetteville, but we're gusting to nearly 40 in Fayetteville. This is where we're starting to see that really first wave of the stronger winds and the warmer temperatures and the instability. And those winds, so again, starting to gust up to around 40. We're expecting gusts up to 45 as we get through up until that big line comes through. And after that, the winds will be even stronger with those severe storms. So we have the potential for some scattered power outages. Damaging wind will be our biggest threat, but tornadoes is right up there at a medium risk. Flooding is going to be a fairly low risk with this situation. Not that we even want to think about this, but taking a look at Friday, it's a WRAL weather alert day. We could see more severe storms then. But coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to take a closer look at the radar and show you how those storms are moving into our area.
Elizabeth, thanks for that. You can now smell like your favorite Girl Scout cookie. Maybe Renee can. I'm not going to smell like this. But coming up after the break, why Native deodorant is releasing this limited edition scent.
Maybe. And you're looking live at the WRAL Storm Tracker on US 1 South in Chatham County. They're making their way towards Sanford as we monitor potential severe weather pushing into our area. Continued live coverage still ahead on this newscast.
Bringing back this noon with this live look in Sanford. We showed you the WRAL Storm Tracker headed that way. This is what they'll see when they get there. Raindrops on the camera lens there as you watch WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. A hygiene company is bottling up the scent of popular seasonal cookies. Native Cosmetics is releasing deodorant, body spray, and other cleaning products that smell like Girl Scout cookies. The company is known for aluminum-free deodorants that are vegan and cruelty-free. The new products come in a variety of scents, including thin mints, caramel coconut, lemon, peanut butter, and truffles. The collection is available for a limited time.
You can start filing your taxes on January 29th. This tax season will include some new developments, including the IRS's effort to launch its own direct filing platform. This would be a free alternative to sites like TurboTax and H&R Block. The IRS system will be available in a dozen states to start, but not in North Carolina. The IRS expects to receive nearly 129 million returns by April 15th. Nearly 20% of all office space is vacant. Data from Moody's Analytics shows offices in major U.S. cities were not leased as of the fourth quarter. That's the highest number since at least 1979. The new record shows how remote work has upended the market. It also reflects years of overbuilding as cheap lending rates fueled a construction boom.
Michigan football head coach Jim Harbaugh takes his alma mater to the top, winning the school's first national championship in more than 25 years. The team completed an undefeated season, 15-0, after beating Washington 34-13 in last night's college football playoff championship game. The win earns Harbaugh another $1 million bonus on his contract. There's been speculation that he might want to return to the NFL. Coaching with the Panthers may be a possibility just because they have an opening. That's why we say that. Wolverine fans sure hope he sticks around a little while longer, though, because this was the scene on the streets near the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor after the win. Fans flooded the streets with some climbing posts, people up on trees. Others cheered and chanted their team. The Ann Arbor Fire Department put out 17 couch fires. None included buildings or vehicles, and no one was hurt.
feel like that's kind of the playbook when you win a national championship for fans
Burn
anyway.
furniture. Yeah.
The NFL playoffs kick off this weekend, and we have you covered on WRAL and Fox 50. At 4:30 on Saturday, the Cleveland Browns play the Houston Texans on WRAL. Wild Card Weekend continues Sunday. At 4:30, the Green Bay Packers travel to Dallas to play the Cowboys on Fox 50. After that, at 8, the Detroit Lions host the Los Angeles Rams here on WRAL. You're looking live now at the WRAL Storm Tracker in Lee County as we continue to monitor potential severe weather headed our way. It is raining across the viewing area. We have team coverage on the other side of the break.
Also still ahead, why British actor Idris Elba wants the UK government to ban machetes and how he hopes it'll help save young lives. And your winning NC Education lottery numbers on your screen right there. It is a WRAL Weather Alert Day. We have a team of meteorologists and reporters in the studio and on the roads to help keep you safe.
Let's get right to Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Elizabeth, it's going to be a miserable, dreary washout of a day.
It is. And on top of that, we're going to have some damaging winds. We have started to see some of that down into South Carolina in the line that's headed our way. Out ahead of that line, we'll see gusts up to 45 miles per hour. We've already started to see some gusts to 40 miles per hour. That rain will be heavy, and we have that severe weather threat also. Level 2 and 3, so straight line winds and tornadoes are possible. Just starting to see some lightning now, just over the last 30-45 minutes for the first time. We're also seeing a line of severe thunderstorms that has developed from Charlotte south and west. We'll take a look at that coming up in just a minute. We take a look at Goldsboro. That's the spot that's seeing some thunder and lightning. Nothing severe there yet, but as we start to see more warmth moving up from the south, it will destabilize the atmosphere further, and we could start to see some straight line winds. Lots of rain from the Triangle area southward right now. Of course, we have that level 2 and 3 risk for severe storms as we get into the afternoon, and we see that strong line of thunderstorms, which is right here. Our chance for tornadoes will increase. Watch this line there. See that those yellow boxes? A solid line of severe thunderstorms pushing up towards South Hill, and there has been reported trees down. So there's wind damage associated with that. That's also in the tornado watch area from Charlotte southward down towards South Carolina. It does not include any of our viewing area yet, but certainly parts of our viewing area are likely to be put under a tornado watch sometime in the next couple of hours. So scattered rain with us all the way up until 3 or 4 o'clock, and then we start to see the most dangerous line of thunderstorms that we'll see today, approaching the viewing area at 5 p.m., moving through the central part of the viewing area at 6, and in the eastern part of the viewing area between 7 and 8, and then it moves out. That'll be the end of our severe threat, but it will remain breezy even behind that front, even into parts of Wednesday. We take a live look at downtown Raleigh right now. The rain is really coming down here as we take a look at our Jimmy V camera. We also take a look at where Kelsey Coffee is in the storm tracker just north of Sanford, pushing back into some of that heavier rain that's just moved in over Wake County. Kelsey, how's it looking out there on the roads? You seeing accidents?
Elizabeth, we haven't seen any accidents, but this rain is definitely going to impact visibility on the roads. Take a look now. We're here on US 1 North, headed back towards Raleigh. We just left Sanford. We're about 26 miles away from Apex right now. So if you're driving this afternoon, definitely be careful. We've got some slick roads out here this afternoon, and be sure to watch your speed. Kelsey Coffee, WRAL News, live in Lee County.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, really not a good day if you're traveling by plane. We're checking out cancellations and delays across the area. Charlotte Douglas International, 163 delays right now and 25 cancellations. Here closer to home at RDU, we're seeing 41 delays and 12 cancellations. These numbers have been fluctuating, so definitely check your flight before you leave the house. If you are flying and you have to cancel or rebook for any reason, a lot of airlines are offering waiving fees, I should say. American Airlines offering free trip changes because of this weather. Southwest also doing the same. I checked JetBlue. They're waiving change and cancellations fees. But if you'll notice, RDU is not on this list. So make sure you check the list very carefully to make sure your city is on the list.
Today's storm system is expected to bring strong winds and rain, a combination that could lead to falling trees and downed power lines. WRAL's Chelsea Donovan is live at Duke Energy with how crews are getting ready for what could be a busy afternoon, evening, and night. Chelsea.
Yeah, as you can see, kind of the wind is starting to come down. The rain is starting to come down and the winds are certainly intensifying, and that is causing power outages. I'm getting real-time information right now from Duke Energy spokesperson, and I want to run down some of the major outages right now. We've got 2,500 people without power right now in Durham on the Leesville Road side of that. They've got a power outage in North Hills with 60 people. 200 people without power right now near the A.E. Finley YMCA off Baileywick Road. But earlier today, there was more than 1,500 people without power up north of 540 on Baileywick and Strickland in many different communities there. I'm told by Jeff Brooks, who's the Duke Energy spokesperson, that those have all been cleared up. Crews swiftly getting out the door and getting these folks power restored. But right now, the biggest outage in our area, 2,500 people right now without power in Durham. Of course, we'll be heading up that way to check out these situations. He says this is likely caused by some straight line wind. So, of course, we'll check out those areas and bring you updates as soon as possible.
Chelsea Donovan live in Raleigh. Chelsea, thank you.
A lot of schools in our area have adjusted their school day for the weather, some opting for online and virtual learning, while others either have already or are dismissing early. Durham College Prep High School released students at the top of the hour. That's where WRAL's Eric Miller joins us live now. Eric?
Yeah, Jeff, we've been checking in with school districts both yesterday and today, and the thing that we hear over and over again is that, they're making these early dismissal decisions or these virtual schooling decisions to try to protect the safety of both staff and students. And literally just in the last couple of minutes, as we were waiting to go live, we got a reminder of why that is. I want to send you down this way. You can see there's a tree that's fallen over the fence here. That happened literally 2 minutes ago. The rain here has started to pick up in the last couple of minutes here in Durham, and the wind as well, and you can see that is already having a bit of an impact on those dead trees, those dead branches. Now, checking in with parents who have been waiting in those lines, those early pickup lines today, we've actually heard they have been happy with the choice to bring kids in for just a couple hours rather than go fully asynchronous or fully virtual. The majority of districts we've checked in with, they have kept those kids here in class for a couple hours. Parents are happy with that. They say it's because both they have to arrange for child care if the kids are going to be home all day, and then they also have to make sure that they've got all the supplies, all the equipment that they need, and that can be a little tricky if you're just doing that for one day out of the blue. So in general, parents happy with these decisions, happy with what districts are doing to try to keep these kids safe. And of course, getting those kids out, it means those drivers, those school bus drivers, those parents, they'll be off the roads when we actually do have the worst of this storm coming in. Of course, that tree coming down, though, that's a reminder. You do want to be a little bit vigilant out here as things get a bit worse. I'll send it back to you, Jeff.
Eric Miller with that ground truth live in Durham for us this noon. Eric, thank you.
It is all about safety, and another way to stay safe, you can plan ahead for severe weather with the WRAL News app. It allows you to watch radar in real time to see when storms are in your area. Be sure you have the WRAL News app installed on your phone. Turn on alerts to get notified about severe weather in your location. It's free wherever you download your apps.
A network news anchor reveals her cancer diagnosis on air, how she's doing, and what's next for her.
And this is a live look at Pinehurst, where we'll start to see heavier rain and stronger wind gusts in a few hours and throughout the evening commute. We want to see what's happening in your neighborhood. Make sure it's safe to take pictures or video. Then look for the reported link on WRAL.com or on the WRAL News app. Welcome back as we take a live look at Southern Pines on this WRAL Weather Alert Day. This picture shows why. We have the raindrops on the camera lenses, gray, dreary skies. The winds will get stronger and the rain will get heavier as we move through the afternoon and evening. A North Carolina man who spent 44 years in prison for a rape he did not commit will receive a record settlement. Ronnie Long spent 44 years behind bars until the courts finally overturned his conviction in 2020. Long and his team filed a civil suit against the city of Concord, the FBI, and the arresting officers. As part of the settlement, Long will receive $25 million. The city of Concord also issued a formal apology.
Actor and musician Idris Elba is calling on the UK government to ban zombie knives like you see in movies, as well as machetes. The star of Luther helped to launch a new campaign called Don't Stop Your Future with an art installation in London's Parliament Square. The installation is made up of neatly folded outfits, each representing someone who has been killed by a violent crime in the UK. The weapons have been banned on the streets in Britain since 2016, but opponents claim there's a loophole in the system allowing the sale of them online.
CNN anchor Sarah Seidner is urging women to get mammograms and do self-exams after an emotional announcement at the end of her newscast.
Just take a second to recall the names of 8 women who you love and know in your life. Just 8. Count them on your fingers. Statistically, one of them will get or have breast cancer. I am that 1 in 8 in my friend group.
Seidner told her viewers she has stage 3 breast cancer. She is now in her 2nd month of chemotherapy and will undergo radiation and a double mastectomy.
We have a live picture for you right now out of North Hills. You can see raindrops on the lens there. That rain is expected to pick up later this afternoon and bring wind with it. Elizabeth Gardner is back in just a moment.
Plus, scripts for 2 iconic episodes of Friends dating back to 1998 are set to hit the auction block, where the documents were located after nearly 30 years.
And we bring you back this noon with a live look, WRAL Storm Tracker right now. If you were on Route 1 North in Wake County approaching Apex, this is what it would look like for you driving on those roads out there. Be careful.
Yeah, we're seeing some steady rain over at Dix Park as we take a live picture there in downtown Raleigh. The rain is widespread, as you can see on the dual Doppler radar. And Elizabeth, we're even starting to see flashes of lightning in some parts.
And we just started to see that in the noon hour. The rain started in the 4 a.m. hour. It's been on and off. And then finally, we've started to see the surge of warmth coming north. And that's helping to create some thunder and lightning, some thunderstorms. Boy, we took a look at the Goldsboro camera a few minutes ago. And boy, it was just shaking the camera. But the rain has ended there for now. That's moving on up toward Wilson and Rocky Mount with some scattered thunderstorms. Nothing severe there. But here's where the severe storms are. Right up here through Charlotte, you can see the yellow boxes stretching all the way now up to Kannapolis. There have been some reports of wind damage in terms of trees falling. So this next line that's back to our west has a history of that. And we're going to talk about when that could get here. But Southern Pines, Fayetteville, Sanford, Raleigh, all seeing some fairly steady to heavy rain, and the winds are starting to pick up. Here's a look at Goldsboro. Boy, the winds are still shaking that camera. We're seeing some gusts up to 30, 35 miles per hour. The rain has pushed northward there for now. Of course, we have a level 2 and 3 risk for severe storms, so it's likely that we'll end up with some tornadoes as we get through the afternoon. There's been a history of tornadoes along this line down to the south in Florida. What we're seeing right now is severe thunderstorms. The yellow boxes are severe thunderstorms, and look how quickly that is moving up into our area. And of course, the red shaded area is a tornado watch just south and west of our viewing area. But it looks like in the next hour to 2 hours, part of our viewing area would be under a tornado watch as well. So interesting to see. The models, of course, are picking up on some of these scattered thunderstorms that are starting to develop. The big line of thunderstorms back to the west still has a chance of coming in a little later. But watching where those thunderstorms are in Charlotte right now, and the fact that they're doing some wind damage and knocking down trees, that's going to be more in the 3 p.m. timeline. And then we may see a second line of thunderstorms that starts to approach us around 5 to 6 p.m. That could produce some tornadoes. That's likely to be moving out by about 7 or 8 o'clock out of our eastern counties, and that would be the end. So starting at around maybe between 2 and 3. we could begin to see at least some pop-up severe storms, and then that big line starts to come through a little later on. The raindrops are so big showing up on this camera, they almost look like snowflakes, but you can definitely see the water on the camera lens. As I look at Sanford, that rain is just pouring. We're looking at 1.5 to 2 inches. Because it's coming down so quickly, there's the potential for some flash flooding. We do have, of course, a flood watch in effect for our western counties because of that. Taking a look at the wind gusts, we're gusting to 36 miles per hour in Fayetteville, 33 in Goldsboro, and in Rocky Mount, 29, Southern Pines, 25 in Raleigh. So those winds have really started to pick up in the last hour. We have a wind advisory in effect for winds gusting up to 45 miles per hour through the afternoon outside of the thunderstorms. That's going to help to create some scattered power outages. As that line of storms comes through, those winds could be anywhere from 60 to 70 miles per hour as straight line winds or as tornadoes. Damaging winds, straight line wind is going to be our biggest threat today, and then tornadoes right behind that at a medium risk. Hail's not likely, and flooding, we may have some isolated flooding depending on just whether or not you happen to be out there when that rain is really coming down. 63 for the high this afternoon. I would really urge you, if you can at all possibly stay at home between, say, 3 and 8 p.m. You can continue to tune in to sort of see where that rain is, but the wind is going to continue to get stronger through the afternoon, and if we start to have those tornadoes developing as we get into, say, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, you definitely don't want to be out in your car. Looking ahead to Friday, there's an indication that we may have another round of severe storms, so that is also a weather alert day.
Elizabeth, nearly 4 decades after Prince made his screen debut in Purple Rain, the film will soon become a Broadway musical.
And here's a look at the winning Powerball numbers. Jackpot's at $60 million.
We wrap things up for you with a quick look at the rundown of what we are working and watching weather-wise. This is a live look at Rocky Mount Mills. The heavy rain has moved into our area in some spots already, and as Elizabeth Gardner said, stronger, more severe storms are headed our way. To our west, this system has already brought down several trees and power lines. It has a history. This morning, Governor Roy Cooper said he declared a state of emergency last night, in part to prepare for power outages.
You want to restore power as quickly as possible when we know this storm will likely result in power outages across the state. And we'll just keep our fingers crossed and hope that it won't be as bad, but I think we expect that there will be some rough weather.
We just checked for you, and nearly 11,000 Duke Energy customers are without power right now. The larger outage clusters are west of the Triangle, with the most significant outage in Mecklenburg County right now. Duke Energy and other utility companies are positioned across the state and ready to respond as soon as it's safe.
You can also count on WRAL to keep you informed of changes to the forecast throughout the day. We'll be with you until this threat passes. This is a live look here right now. Storm Tracker, as it heads up Route 1. Now, we'll have live updates with Elizabeth Gardner at 1:25 and on WRAL again just before 2 p.m. And then team coverage starts at 4 o'clock. We will break in, of course, with updates if conditions warrant.
Fans of the iconic show Friends have a chance to own a part of television history. A man living in England was cleaning out his home when he found 2 of the original Friends scripts inside his bedside table. The 2 episodes, titled The One with Ross's Wedding, parts 1 and 2, were filmed at Fountain Studios, where the man once worked. And he found the scripts in a trash bin a few weeks after filming and forgot he had taken them. The scripts will be auctioned on Friday and are expected to sell for at least $650. Lisa Bonet has filed for divorce from Jason Momoa 2 years after they announced their split. They got married in 2017 after meeting in 2005. They share 2 teenage children. In her filing, Bonet says she wants to share custody of the kids with no spousal support for either.
Actor Willem Dafoe finally has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He's pumped about it. This was the first star ceremony of the year. Dafoe has appeared in more than 100 films throughout his career, receiving 4 Academy Awards. They include Spider-Man, The Lighthouse, John Wick, and Platoon. 40 years after Purple Rain rocked movie theaters, it's headed for Broadway. The Prince movie is being adapted as a stage musical. The film tells the story of a musician dealing with difficulties at home, music rivalry, and a new romance. When and where this musical will be launched has not been announced. Prince won 2 Grammys and an Oscar for the music featured in the film. He died in 2016. NBC News Daily is headed your way next on WRAL. We'll have a live update with Elizabeth Gardner at 1:25 on WRAL and again before 2 p.m.
You can also get important weather updates on our WRAL News app. Stay safe, everybody.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.